For reasons we'll come to in a while, this is a very opportune moment to talk about AI images. Today, for no money whatsoever, it's easy for any one of us to create artwork and photorealistic images. And this bodes brilliantly for any one of us who are artistically challenged, or who've ever sat through PowerPoints with endlessly generic images. And creatively, that is a good thing. And a bad thing. Because now, at AI's typical rollercoaster speed, we're entering an era that will call for a new level of visual skepticism. Let's start by looking at a few of the many free ways you can create yourself a sophisticated image using AI. I'm going to be demonstrating primarily with Adobe Firefly. There are various tools out there that will all allow you to generate an AI image. Some of them are free, some of them are paid. At the very end of the video, I will give links to all of the ones that I've demonstrated and more that I have found useful in the last year or so. So Adobe Firefly is free to us because the university's paid for a subscription. So that is tremendously helpful in many ways to us. I'm going to take a bit of time and go through the login process just so you can see the way I need to do this. I'm going to continue with Google because our Sussex accounts work as a Google account. So I will enter my University of Sussex username at sussex.ac.uk. This is helpful. Because last year, Adobe, in a very pioneering move, decided to preempt any concerns about copyright by saying that for any enterprise users of Firefly, they would cover legal fees. So if you create something in Firefly and are subsequently sued for breach of copyright by somebody claiming it was theirs, Adobe will pay all your charges. I don't think anybody's taken them up on this yet, but it does show the level of confidence because they've trained all of this model on their own stock photography. So let's have a look. We will start by looking at text to image. That's what we're mostly interested in at the moment. There are various other things on that page that you can explore. So, simple as that. I can't draw, but I can type. Let's write down in this text prompt what it is that I want to look at. Blue Stuffy wearing a red top hat. Generate. It will now go away and create me 4 options. While it's doing so, I'll do a quick look at the side here. There we go. I can choose the dimensions of the picture I want. I can choose whether I want it as a piece of art or a photograph. Visual intensity I haven't played with yet. And there are a whole range of effects that I can play with as well. But basically, look, there we go. In one hit, I've managed to create a picture that I couldn't have drawn if I lived to be 150 and drew every day of my life. But I want it as a photo. So I will click that and just regenerate the image. And there we go. I have myself a photo. But now I think, looking at it, actually I want it to be a blue hat. No, I don't. Green. Blue stuff, you're wearing a green top hat. And it's a photo. And you get the idea. It was as simple as that. I just keep adapting what I ask for until I think I've got a picture that is useful for me. So like I said, there are lots of AI tools that will draw you an image. You will enter a text prompt, you will hit generate, a few seconds will pass, 30 seconds will pass maybe, and you will have an image. I want to come here and have a look at this beta version of a piece of SDXL Turbo software. This is a trial version that will only allow me to interact with it for a bit before it insists I pay. But I wanted to show you because I think this represents a way I would imagine these interfaces going, knowing people's expectations. Because he wants to wait 30 seconds for an image. You notice the image keeps recalibrating as I type. Toad wearing a top. In return, I like this a lot. The image recalibrates as I go. There you go. I just wanted to show you that because I would be very surprised if image generation doesn't move in this direction. So how good is that? Super useful. A gift for anyone out without the time or interest to develop artistic skills. Who could possibly find any cause for complaint? Well, in February 2024, Google launched its Gemini text-to-image model, with much bragging about how it trounced all the competition. And yet within 3 weeks, a few unexpected things had happened. Google suspended Gemini's text-to-image service. The share price of Google's parent company plummeted by $70 billion. One of Google's senior vice presidents issued a public apology on the company's blog. But why? Well, very quickly, users had started to notice that Gemini was displaying some bizarre signs of racial bias. For example, when asked to create an image of America's founding fathers, Gemini came up with this. Now, American political history might not be my strongest point, but I am pretty sure there is one egregious racial inconsistency here for 1789. Maybe not, though, because look at the Google Gemini image of George Washington. It got worse. When somebody gave Gemini the prompt, generate an image of a 1943 German soldier, Gemini came up with this. And this. And it's not just recent history. Take a look at Gemini's depiction of an authentic Viking. So what's going on? Is Google trying to rewrite history? Well, certainly the ensuing media storm has been chock full of references to Big Brother, Stalin, and even a woke conspiracy. But in case you get the impression that Google's the only culprit, Meta, aka Facebook, has its own offering, Imagine AI, and that is every bit as happy to play loose with the past. Meta will equally show us a racially diverse group of founding fathers, and when asked for people from American colonial times, it can give us a group of Asian women. According to Google, what really happened makes computer sense. Google had built into Gemini guardrails to reflect a global population. So every time you asked it to show you a doctor or a president, it wasn't always going to give you a white guy. What happened with the founding fathers and the Nazis was that Gemini had no sensitivity to historical context. It was trying to represent human beings fairly and globally, but wasn't taking into account the unfair way that things might really have been. Setting aside race, it is very easy to ask an AI to generate all sorts of convincing historical absurdities. Take a look at some of the ones I've done.
I got a message to deliver about the digital mirage, the AI sinister. Don't trust what you see, don't believe the facade. They lure you in, but they truly a fraud. Deepfakes are out there to fool your perception, creating images, distorting all your recollection. Faces manipulated, identities altered. Once you fall for it, it'll be your soul they bought it.
In what will become the history of AI, we are currently living through the Wild West phase. Progress is fast, competition is rife. Rivals are pushing boundaries faster than any government or legal structure can keep up. On the flip side, a lot of researchers are busy on solutions, digital watermarking to unmistakably signpost artificial images, ways to train out the biases inherited from written human knowledge. In the meantime, enjoy the creative flux. I encourage you all to experiment and spin up as many images as you can while the AI dust is still settling.